All right, this is Algebra 1, Lesson 5-2. This is the first note-taking of this unit. We're talking about solving a system of linear equations by graphing. So my abbreviation for system of linear equations is a capital S, lowercase o, capital L, capital E. So system of linear equations. And I wrote it out here. I want to analyze what that even means because I'm going to be using this word a lot. So system. This is a fancy way of saying more than one. So I could be talking about 2, 3, 4, just something more than one. That's really what I'm talking about. And it's usually at the same time. So I'll write this. This isn't as important, so I'm going to do it in green. At the same time. All right, linear equation. We have heard this word before. What do you think of when you hear the word linear equation? Just shout out some ideas. Linear equation.
One side equals the other side.
Yeah, one side equals the other side. Okay. Any other ideas? Linear equation. Say it louder. Variables. Okay, nice. Yeah, so the word that I really want to take away here for linear equation is a line. In mathematics, you have a bunch of different shapes that you can have for functions. Right now, we're dealing with the most basic shape. We're dealing with lines. Eventually, we're going to be dealing with functions that look like this, curves. Functions that look like this, still curvies. Functions that look like this. Right now, we're dealing with the basic one, just a line right now. So you don't need to graph all of those, but right now, we're dealing with lines. So when I hear system of linear equation, I'm thinking of more than one line. That's a fancy way of saying more than one line at the same time. Okay, so when I say a solution, I need to know what I mean. So if I look at y equals x plus 1, and we can graph this really quickly. Let me get some dot paper. Y equals x plus 1. I'll graph this for us, but if you already know how to do it, you can go ahead and do that. So it has a y-intercept of 1. So y-intercept of 1, and it has a slope of 1 over 1. So a slope of 1 means I go right 1, up 1. Right 1, up 1. So there's my line. So when I ask for a solution to an equation, a solution is any point on this line. In the last unit, I was always asking you, is this point on the line? Or is this a solution to the equation? What I was really asking is that point on the line? Any point on this line is a solution. This line, and this is the key takeaway that I need us to write down, this line represents all. The key is all solutions. All solutions to this equation. If I gave you an equation, this is a visual way to say, hey, look, there are at least 5 answers. There's actually an infinite number of answers. And how to see that? Every single thing on this line, I can choose this point. I can choose this point right here. I can choose this point right here. I can choose this point right here, this point right here. Every single one of these x and y coordinates is a solution to this equation. So what we're going to do now is we want to find the one solution where 2 lines intersect. So now for our homework tonight, we're going to be graphing another line. I'll graph something that looks like this, and you can just arbitrarily make a line in your notes just like I am. Some line that looks like this. Okay, now I need to find the point that is a solution to both equations. Well, I could have any point on the blue line, this point, this point, this point. Those are all solutions to the blue line. The only one point satisfies both of those lines, and it's where they intersect. This point right here, we can circle it. That point right there, and we'll write this out in our notes too. This point of intersection is the solution to both of these lines. And a better way of saying lines is linear equation. If you like lines better, you can say lines, but these linear equations. There are many ways to solve a system of linear equations. We're doing the most introductory way, which is just graph both of those equations. We know how to graph this line, we know how to graph the other line. We graph those lines and find the point that they meet. So today we're just solving these by graphing. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next slide. This will be our last little paragraph. But I still see people writing, so I'm going to hold off. All right, so graphing. The pros and cons. So the pro. I'm just going to say it's easy. And if you want to know why it's easy, you don't have to write the stuff in green here. The reason why it's easy is just graph both. The cons. So the first con is that it's slow. It takes a long time to graph one line. It takes another amount of time to graph the second line, and then how to find the intersection. So it is slow. And the second con is that it's not precise. Even if you had a graph that was as big as this entire room, and we were looking at this tiny spot where these two lines met, you would still not be precise as if you did another method. What I mean by this, and we can do a quick little sketch, you don't even have to make it very nice, but if you have a graph and you have two lines meet at this point, that point could be 1.1359, comma 7 1/3. We don't know exactly what the point is. We can only estimate. So that's why graphing might not be the best method, but it is a method. So the main takeaways from this lesson, I'm going to help you guys with the summaries here. We're done with notes. Main takeaways is what is a system of linear equations and what does this point of intersection mean? What is a system of linear equations and what does this point represent? All right, go ahead and do your summaries.